Greetings, amigops and top teners everywhere. Welcome back to another edition of Top 10 with Kyle and Mike. I am your co-host, Kyle. Directly next to me today is your favorite co-host, Michael. Now, this week, not really like we do every week, we do have a top 10 list, but it's very special because we are joined by two of our best friends. We are here for Movie Weekend 2020. Maybe you listened to this episode last year. Whatever the case, we've been here all weekend watching movies, and we're about to rank the top 10 ones that we watched.
That is true, Kyle. And this week, unlike every week, we are going to just roll right through. And Kyle, you didn't screw up the opening. Really nice job. We just shook hands because it's lovely. We are in person.
It's a first for everything.
First for everything. We are joined by brother-in-law of the pod, Seamus. And of course, dear friend of the pod, Mike, who you remember from last year's episode. So boys, I put the list together, but I think we all put this list together in our hearts. This was a group effort. So do either of you guys want to introduce yourself? Seamus, say a few words to the microphone in the middle of this table.
How's everyone doing? My name's Seamus. I'm Michael's brother-in-law, and I just earned two new great friends this weekend. So thank you guys for inviting me here. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Oh my God. That was incredibly hurtful. Mike,
that was really sweet.
Shut up. That was really cool. Mike, unlike last year, did not prepare a list for us to do while we were together. Thank you, Mike. That was really nice of you.
You're very welcome.
We were hoping for another Mythbusters episode. Unfortunately, we did not get that. It was nice to see you, though. All right, shall we?
Yeah.
So I think the only thing I want to note for this year is new team record.
Yeah.
New team record this year. Not only did we watch one more movie than we watched last year, we saw two other people.
Yeah.
It's great. We ate dinner out at a place. I don't know. I'm impressed. We stood up a couple times. I actually don't have hemorrhoids this year. So I'm pretty glad with how this weekend went.
Overall, I feel pretty good. Like,
weirdly healthy.
Usually by this time on Sunday, I'm like not ready to go,
but like kind of ready to go. Like, I kind of just want to go home and eat a salad and poop normally. All right, so let us roll into this thing. I think we're just going to go 13-1. We're not going to do...
Yeah, not necessarily.
We'll just roll.
Well, because I think it's worth noting that we didn't watch any bad movies this year.
Like, no, there was no Batman Ninja.
We watched all good movies. I guess you could rank them in terms of... Well, but it's also important to note that we're ranking these not necessarily in terms of, like, the overall quality.
Definitely not.
Context matters.
Yeah, so please don't add us with your that movie sucked BS, because this is about what gave us the most joy.
Yeah.
And I think we were all in agreement about which of those films gave us the most joy. I wouldn't say this is directly inversely correlated to your Rotten Tomatoes score. There's a rough negative correlation, though. All right, so number 13 was a film that we watched the first evening. It was the last film, or second to last film of the night. Number 13 is Man with the Golden Gun. I forgot just how bad that movie is. So we did sort of watch a bad movie. Man with the Golden Gun is a bad movie.
Well, it hasn't aged super well.
That was a theme of the weekend. We heard the C word a lot this weekend. Yeah. There was a lot of homophobic slurs in the movies we watched, especially homophobic. I'd say more so than anything. There was a lot of people with very offensive accents, but the homophobia was strong with this weekend.
It was either homophobic or it was just like a very poor representation of homosexual individuals.
Yeah, it was tough. But Man with the Golden Gun for Knick Knack probably wins the strangest and most offensive award, because that was really something. For those of you who've seen the show, I think it's Paradise Island. He's the guy who shouts "Deplane, boss, deplane" every episode. So, Man with the Golden Gun, not a great movie, enjoyable nonetheless.
Yeah, and good work from Christopher Lee.
Yeah, really nice stuff.
As always.
Number 12, excellent movie, but I think sort of by default it has to be towards the end, because Seamus did not watch this one. He has seen it in the past, and I fell asleep for the last 20 minutes, so we may update this list later, but number 12 was Rounders.
Really good movie.
Really enjoyable, but I think it's appropriate because we watched it, like, we started it at midnight.
Yeah.
And I was pretty hazy through most of it. But.
Yeah. I think we may need to reinstate the watch a movie we've seen before in that time slot, because we've done that. We did that the first time and maybe even the second time. I think it's smart. It's a good move.
But the movie's really enjoyable, and we were discussing how Ed Norton is the perfect scumbag. He's really good at it.
I wish he were in more movies because he was a lot like Steve Frizzelli from The Italian Job. It was basically the same character.
I feel like
almost exactly the same.
movies could be in the same universe.
Yeah. Yeah, actually I think they are. In fact, I think this was probably the inspiration for The Italian Job, the remake.
Right.
Alright, so Rounders was number 12. Number 11, kind of split opinions here, Seven Psychopaths. Mike, you loved Seven Psychopaths.
I really liked it. It was just silly enough that it keeps you really interested, laughing the whole time, but it's not super weird and artsy. Like it skirts that line perfectly that you can enjoy it without having to think too hard, but still kind of you can get more out of it if you want it.
I was very pro. It felt to me like one of the bad Tarantino movies where we've seen a couple by this director. In Bruges was one of our favorites. And this felt like it had the same vibe as In Bruges, but wasn't quite as good. So I just, the whole time I was like wishing it was just it made a little bit more sense, but I had a blast.
It was sillier than In Bruges.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. I liked the whole cast. Sam Rockwell was great.
I liked what you said, Seamus, where you're just like, that was so fucking confusing. I had no idea what was going on, but like, it didn't really matter. Like, I agree, because that usually bothers me, like, a lot. But in this case, it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun ride, but I do agree. That did not make a lot of sense to me.
No, I think if you thought what was happening, it just made less sense. And so I kind of just pulled back and
that was what I did. That was my experience. At some point I was like, I'm not going to get this. That's fine. I'm just going to kind of enjoy each individual scene as it is.
I think that's kind of how it's meant to be enjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah. So number 10 is probably ranked too low, at least for me, because I really enjoyed this one. Number 10 is How to Train Your Dragon. Shouts to you, Allie. I don't think you listened to the podcast, but you tried to get me and the rest of our friends to watch this about 10 years ago. I fell asleep. I did not fall asleep this time. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, shouts to Ketty also, because Ketty was really mad at us for not having watched this before.
She was kind of upset. I was glad that this didn't suck like Tangled. This was actually a really good animated movie.
We're just having fun here. Seamus, have you seen Tangled?
I have not, no.
Okay.
Seamus grew up in a definite boy house, so there's a lot, he has not, actually still has not seen Princess Diaries. No. He watched about 10 minutes of it last weekend and then just floated away.
Really?
He just disappeared into another room and was never to be seen again. Yeah, that was tough. But this was great. I thought the message was really nice. I really enjoyed the interchangeable arms. On the armors was enjoyable. The whole movie was great. The art design was really cool. I loved all the different types of dragons. Big fan. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Also, and one of the MVPs of the weekend.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah, we'll get to him later. All right, so that was number 10. Number 9, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was exactly the way I wanted to start my day yesterday.
Yeah.
Perfect. The most nudity of any of the movies we watched.
And not that much nudity. But
well, we did definitely saw a vagina. You saw your dream girl, Michelle Monaghan's boobs for quite a while. So this was a little uncomfortable to watch with Kyle because he was liking it so much. Did you guys like it at all? Or
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Not as much as Kyle, yeah.
It's a pretty high bar to set.
Yeah. I don't know. Kyle really liked it.
It was weird he liked it so much because he took off to the bathroom for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on under that blanket.
Minute and a half. Whatever. No, the movie was actually really good. Highly recommended. And I will say it was funny because this was one of the movies that had a lot of direct, weirdly homophobic jokes, but I thought that the character of Val Kilmer, who was gay, was not insensitive. It was interesting because I thought this one was more reflecting the times that people were just pretty openly homophobic, but the character himself was actually pretty well written and wasn't ridiculous. So it was interesting to see sort of the evolution of these movies where you're like, gay people are funny and should be made fun of. Gay people are not funny but are still made fun of. Gay people are either in this movie or not and it doesn't matter. We sort of saw the full evolution of that through our weekend.
There aren't that many like this where it's just they're made fun of, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But I thought...
This was 2005 or whatever this was. It was an interesting time.
I This is a Robert Downey Jr. picture for those of you who don't know.
Comeback, too. This was like early in the comeback.
Yeah, so he's great, but like, I would say that the lasting takeaway from that movie is Val Kilmer. Like, he was really good.
I wish there were more of him.
Yeah.
He was the star of last year's movie weekend, Tombstone.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of the real highlights, and he as Doc Holliday is just chef's kiss. So he was great in this too. Should we watch Batman Forever next year, maybe?
I don't hate it.
Maybe that could be our late night. Actually, that should be it. That should
every year you watch a Batman movie after midnight.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
I think that's the move.
I would say this one. I don't know. Would you recommend this movie to just anybody? I feel like
no.
Yeah,
no. The aforementioned vagina would preclude a lot of people from my list.
I would say so far, like everything we've talked about is pretty. Anyone could go back and watch it. I would say make sure you read the back of the box before checking this one out.
Definitely. Yeah. That's good though. I really like that. Also, I just want to note, I don't know who said it, but the thing about the Christmas, was that you, Kyle?
Yeah.
The movie was set at Christmas, but did not do anything Christmas related. It just was sort of nonsensically Christmas.
Well, it was like in the middle of the afternoon, and I was doing something else, like showering, and the movie, I guess, just made an impression on me because it was lingering. And I was like, why was that movie set at Christmas time?
Yeah.
Didn't have anything to do with it.
They used it for one scene where they had that weird artsy Christmas party where people in Santa suits were naked and pumping the glass.
But even then, you could have just had people in like weird animal costumes or something. Like, it
Yeah.
didn't have to be Santa stuff.
That's a good point. I don't know. Good movie, though.
I like the choice.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Number 8 was The Gentleman, which was a film that we actually left the house to see.
Yeah.
So I was happy about that. How did you feel about it, Seamus? I fell asleep. You were awake the whole time.
Phenomenal film.
Yeah.
It was really good. Favorite part? The paperweight. When he touched his forehead, paperweight.
You see the movie, there's no question what we're talking about. Were you guys awake for the paperweight?
I think I missed that.
I was hoping you guys don't elaborate on your faces. I don't want to. It would be a little spoilery, I think, to talk about the scene in particular. But it's dual purpose paperweight.
Okay, fair enough. I will say, yes. I remember Cindy saying anything could be a paperweight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, it was a little hazy, but I'm remembering this. Great performances across the board. If you like Downton Abbey, Michelle Dockery. If you like Sons of Anarchy or any of several of the other movies we saw this weekend, Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
If you like Hugh Grant. No Jude Law, unfortunately. McConaughey.
This movie was like Pineapple Express mixed with Breaking Bad mixed with
Snatch or any other Guy Ritchie movie.
It was a lot. Like, it was really a lot, and it was hard to keep track of, but if you can stay focused on it, it's worth it.
Best outfits of the weekend. I could see Seamus dressing like a lot of the people in that movie.
Love the jumpsuits.
The jumpsuits
I think that was one of your big suggestions for next year.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that actually be really comfortable. I don't know if there's a butt flap, though. I'd be pro those jumpsuits, but only if there's a butt flap. Because it was a little chilly this year. It was nice. I was glad we weren't too hot, because sometimes you get a little groggy. But if we do the same thing, we get a little bit chillier, I think the jumpsuits will be nice.
Yeah.
All right, number 7. One of the really, not just fun, but also very high-quality movies of the weekend, Lost City of Z.
This feels low. Might have been for me personally, this was a top 2 or 3. It was great.
Yeah, I think it was one of the highest quality movies we watched. I think there were a couple that I enjoyed more as an experience, but I think I could be talked into putting this higher, because this was probably my second or third favorite movie of the weekend. Like, I thought this was one of the best. It never became Indiana Jones, and it would have been okay if it had. But I was kind of impressed that the movie just kept showing you what I assume was closer to the real story and didn't dramatize it. And Charlie Hunnam was fantastic.
He's really good.
He's a really terrific actor.
I think I'd fallen into this trap because prior to this weekend, now that I've seen most of his work, I'd only seen him in Triple Frontier, and I knew that he was in that King Arthur movie and
Sons of Anarchy,
Robin Hood. Yeah. I'm like, okay, this guy is a really good looking dude who's pretty buff.
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of going to be his thing. That's not the case. He's really good.
Yeah, he's, as you pointed out, he's really good at quietly burning people too.
Every movie, he's got a scene where he just, very quietly and calmly just, burns someone's fucking fingerprints off.
Yeah.
He's so good.
I will say, though, to go back to The Gentleman for a second, he looked a lot like a monkey. I thought with the beard, he looked like Andros from Star Fox 64. He had like the length of his sideburns was exactly the length of his hair, and it just made like a circle around his head. And I thought he looked an awful lot like
if he didn't have glasses, he would have looked like a garden gnome.
Yeah, a little bit. But he is a sexy dude. He made it work anyway, but it was a little bit simian for my taste. All right, so that was number 7. Number 6. One of the most enjoyable films of the weekend, this year's Italian Job, Den of Thieves. The unquestioned star of this was Gerard Butler's California accent?
Unclear.
I don't know what that was supposed to be. It was not the accent of anybody who's ever been born in the United States. I'll say that for sure. Mike, you want to break down the plot of this film, such as it was?
There's some kind of heist going on.
Yeah.
Lots of shooting.
Yep.
Lots of shootouts.
They explained the Federal Reserve for like 10 minutes. I think they really assumed that we didn't know there was money in there, which was really all they had to say, I feel like.
Well, do people really know that the Federal Reserve like shreds money and gets rid of it?
I certainly did.
Yeah.
I didn't know either, so
So that's kind of a nice little
That's true.
tidbit to know.
Plus, it's like it's required by law in any heist movie that you have to show like a montage scene of all the security things in there.
Yes.
So,
And they did a good job with it in this movie.
yeah.
I would say my only complaint about this movie was I didn't find the crew that enjoyable. I thought that the plot of the movie was actually quite enjoyable. I thought the action, especially the shootout in traffic, was awesome. But I only really liked Gerard Butler and the one main guy.
Merriman.
Yeah, I liked those guys.
I didn't like 50 Cent?
I thought 50 Cent was great.
I thought 50 Cent was good. I could have used more. I just didn't think they had... I think I could have used one more scene for each of the crew members where like they do something so I remember them. Because if I compare this to the Italian Job, I'm never forgetting Handsome Rob, Left Ear, The Real Napster. Like those guys are going to stick with me forever. I don't even remember the Merriman you said, but like I thought that they needed a little more fleshing out.
Well, I think like 50 Cent only said like 20 words.
Yeah.
And then Cheddar Bob, I don't even know his name in that thing. He said like 2 and he grunted once. It was like 2 and a grunt. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Femoral artery. He's gone.
yeah, that was it.
So I could have used more from them, but because they were good, I actually think all those guys did a pretty nice job. Like I thought, Ice Cube's kid was good. I didn't understand him at all as a character until the end.
I thought that the bank robbers were pretty well fleshed out. I wish that we had known more about the cop gang because really it was just Gerard Butler and then like he had a couple cop buddies.
Lackeys.
Yeah, they didn't really do anything.
Yeah,
but also that movie's like over 2 hours long. Like,
yeah, that was not a short movie.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the ending though? Like him going to London? I thought that was so dumb.
You can't wait for Den of Thieves!
I really hope there's a sequel. See, this is one of those times that I'm hoping for financial problems for the lead actors. Like, I'm really hoping that Nick Cage gets his tax bill checked out again so we do The Rock 2. And I hope that Gerard Butler kind of spends his residuals from 300 so we get Den of Thieves.
I think Gerard is clearly close to that point because he has done 3 Blank Has Fallen movies.
Yeah.
It's really not that long before.
What if they do London Has Fallen 2, the Den of Thieves? That would be great if they did sort of a crossover thing where Gerard Butler meets Gerard Butler.
Secret Service Gerard Butler?
Yeah,
it's me,
like
cop
Gerard Butler. I hope that happens. All right, number 5. One of several films this weekend that starred somebody missing an arm, leg, hand, finger, something. Number 5 was the comedy classic Kingpin. I think, Seamus, this might have been your favorite.
I thought it was great. It was just like a good old comedy. I belly laughed the whole time.
Yeah. He wouldn't stop going all weekend. Anybody who's watched the movie knows what we're talking about.
You just hit something loose.
So Kingpin, this was on our list, and I saw it and assumed like, oh, that's probably like a drug,
like
movie,
a drug crime kind
probably
of movie.
a mafia movie, which we have a lot on the list. So like, well, maybe we'll get to it, maybe we won't. It's not that.
No,
it's
although it does sort of rather violently.
That's true. Yeah, that was
ball
pretty
return.
gruesome. Yeah. So Woody Harrelson is a really, really talented young bowler. He wins the Iowa State tournament.
79, I think.
Yeah. But then he and Bill Murray go to shake down a bowling alley and get some spending money. And the people there do not like that. And they put his fucking bowling hand in the ball return.
To be clear, and that's the end of his arm.
Yeah.
They chew it right up. Bill Murray was a shit in this movie. He was fantastic.
He was really good. And but that's that would be more than enough.
Yeah.
But that's not even half of the back of the cover description.
No.
Because then 20 years later, he has to coach someone else to be a bowling champion like he was. And it's Randy Quaid as an Amish guy.
Yeah. Who doesn't understand that they only play 10 frames. And so he tells him his average is a 250, 260 bits on 15 frames.
It's the Amish do everything we do, but times
50%,
1.5%
more. So this movie was great. This was just hysterical. It's a Farrelly Brothers movie, so it's ridiculous and enjoyable. I cannot believe it was not rated R. I think that was the consensus as a group, that was a shocking PG-13.
And when did that come out?
Mid to late 90s, I think.
Yeah, I feel like everything was rated R if you
so it was in the 70s, 80s there was no PG-13. So there was a lot of stuff that was PG that was
Jaws.
Yeah, for example. But then by the 90s there was PG-13 was definitely a thing. So this was weird that this was not R.
There's some pretty overt stuff. So proceed with caution.
All right, so that was Kingpin. So number 4 was the last movie we watched, 71. So 71 is the story of a young British soldier who is on his first deployment and goes to Belfast during the height of the troubles with the IRA in the 70s and ends up getting stuck behind enemy lines, and things do not go very well from there.
Oh, for anybody really involved.
No. Yeah, nobody really comes out of that doing great.
I will say that it was a little confusing because,
yeah,
one, they're a little hard to understand at times.
There was the kid. I literally didn't understand a word he said for about a minute and a half. That young kid.
Yeah. 2, it's mostly dark outside.
Yeah.
And a lot of them wear the same jacket. So it's it's unclear, that guy's IRA. And you're like, oh no, he's not.
And
wait, no, he is IRA.
Crossing back and forth.
Exactly.
Which was the sideburns. Everyone had just pork chops.
It was so I think it was intentional. It was a little bit like Dunkirk, where they want all of the people to look like. I remember this was a big thing in Dunkirk. People were saying, where were all the black soldiers? Where were all of the women soldiers? And it was like, well, that was kind of the point of the movie, was there was just these interchangeable young English boys. And I think that was the point of this, was they kept saying that the situation was confused. And while I don't think it's, good to be confused in a movie, I think it was just a healthy dose of confusion to make you realize just how weird and effed up this time was.
Well, my takeaway, I actually kind of enjoyed it, because my takeaway about halfway through the movie was like, all right, I need to start just assuming that everyone is trying to hurt everybody else. And that is kind of how
turned
it
out
worked.
To be a good assumption.
So, and it actually just made me enjoy it a lot more. But enjoy is a loose term, because it was very, very good, but it's extremely intense.
Yeah, that was a very, very tense movie. That's that one scene where they're shot from the corner of the building and the soldier is leaned up against the wall and you see the guy around the corner is... That's a... Whew.
Also, it's these chase scenes are happening in apartment complexes and places that I could very easily imagine myself having to evade somebody.
Yeah.
It just feels like a very down-to-earth kind of realistic scenarios.
Yeah, people aren't great shots. They're not great fighters. Yeah. The main character is... He's not a coward, but he's not Rambo. He's just a guy. He's just a guy who's in the military and he's just trying to get the hell out of there.
Right.
But I feel like you could be there too, with the filming when they're running through the houses, through the alleys in the beginning. I felt like I was there. I felt like I was running. Totally. I almost got sick.
Yeah.
It kind of had a Uncut Gems vibe, where it was very close.
Yeah.
That contributed to it.
Yeah. I absolutely loved it, and I think the way it was filmed really contributed to how enjoyable it was. Everything felt very gritty and real, especially when they were stitching up his stomach. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, Mikey-Mike.
Yep, got a little queasy with that one.
A little queasy. So, speaking of Brits and brutality,
yeah.
number 3 was a Seamus edition, and really,
I'm pumped it made it to 3.
like one of the most enjoyable films of the weekend. I will probably not watch this again, though I might suggest it to John because I think John would love this movie. Number 3 was our second Charlie Hunnam of the weekend.
Probably.
Yeah, our second.
Yeah.
Green Street Hooligans. Seamus, would you like to explain Green Street Hooligans for us?
I wish I had a British accent so I could do it.
Please, you're welcome to give it a shot.
I'm not going to try. But yeah, it was about an English football club, street gang, but the GSC.
GSC. The
Frodo
freaking
Baggins
GSC.
gets kicked out of...
What does GSC stand for?
I think it was Green Street Club.
Yeah, I actually had no idea.
They don't mention the C.
Yeah.
To be clear, the movie is not called Green Street Hooligans in the UK. I noticed this when I was on
Oh.
Wikipedia. It's just called Green Street.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
So Frodo.
Yeah, Frodo becomes a badass.
So let me just be clear. So it took probably half the movie for him to kind of slide into this. Like they tricked him into doing PCP, like in what you would call it, Training Day, and then like he slowly devolved into the violence. Or
It was actually, I think it was 7 minutes?
oh, it was, that's right.
Yeah.
It was. He moves to England and immediately is bashing some fool's head and is in a gang. Like 7 minutes into the movie.
It's probably shorter in movie time than it actually took him to do. Or yeah,
Yeah,
It's
shorter in real time than
Yeah.
movie time. Yeah. He gets to the UK and says, "Hello, sis, how are you?" And then Charlie Hunnam like abducts him and takes him to a football match, and they beat up a bunch of fools, and that's
they're just hooligans.
day one.
Yeah.
Day one, yeah. And then that's basically the movie, I'd say. But it actually has a nice anti-violence message. In all seriousness, even though the movie was crazy violent, I actually thought that the message at the end that just violence leads to more violence leads to more violence and it's really not worth it was pretty good. Somewhat undercut by the ending. Because violence actually does solve some problems at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know if it has to end like that either, though. Like,
I think they probably
just
could've-
cut off.
I couldn't agree more. I don't think that should have been the ending to that movie because it completely devalues the message of the previous 40 minutes where you're like, your rep doesn't travel with you. You just got to go through life being happy and not beating people up. And then it's like, you can do it this one time.
So I had a different takeaway. My
Like a rep.
takeaway was that he just hadn't learned that lesson, and that like he was not escaping this cycle that he had been thrust into.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay. See,
Wow.
I thought that this was just a means to an end, and then he was going to go back to normal. That he was buying his way out. So you think?
I don't think that's how this story ends.
You think he goes back to Cambridge and just beats some fools up? Like he joins Ben Affleck's gang?
I think he
in
has trouble
Good Will Hunting.
I think he has trouble readjusting.
Okay.
I think when you tore a man's jawbone off, it's hard to come back.
I seen it.
I love movies like that though, where like a quiet, unassuming person has to find out like how far they will go.
Yeah.
And except that this wasn't really one of those movies because he's not. It doesn't feel like he goes through any struggles. Right away, he's like, "This is great.
Yeah.
I really like hurting."
He realized quickly he
He's a good
quite
drug
enjoyed
addict.
it. Yeah. I will say though, I did actually think that there were some good points about like just the way violence works. Like when he says like once you get punched in the face and realize you're not made of glass, that kind
Yeah.
of changes your way of thinking. It's kind of a good point because that happens whether you're talking about literal violence or other stuff. Like in life, you get whacked and you're like, "Oh, I'm still rolling," and that changes the way you think about things. So I thought the movie, as crazy as it was, I actually thought it had kind of a bit of a brain.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah. All right, so that was Green Street Hooligans. Number 2 was what I think may have been the consensus highest quality movie of the weekend. Number 2, Michael Clayton.
Yeah.
Kyle, you want to explain Michael Clayton for the kind viewers, listeners, whatever they're called?
Michael Clayton is he's not really, well, he is an attorney.
Yeah.
But he's not like a procedural lawyer. He's
Yeah.
more of a fixer for a very
Yeah.
prominent law firm. Yeah. Quote.
Fixer.
Famous
Been
air
there for
quoting
17
fixers.
years and is still not a partner.
Yeah. Thank you, Tilda. But he's a fixer, and they have one really big client who they've been defending in a civil suit, and the lead prosecutor starts to kind of freak out. Would be a good
Freak out would be a good term.
He starts having some qualms.
Yes.
And so then it
Quibbles.
Yeah. So, anyways, things are blowing up, and things are figuratively blowing up.
Yes.
And Michael needs to kind of get in and fix it. So it's It's kind of a law procedural, but
yeah,
not really.
It's a lot like the '90s legal thrillers, like The Pelican Brief or The Firm, that became really famous. But it's much smarter and better done, I think, than those movies. And it's a lot like Up in the Air, actually, which is funny because it's like a year or two before George Clooney was in that movie. It's just like a more vicious reckoning with what you do. It's basically a guy who spent his whole life doing a certain thing and then kind of realizes that what he does is meaningless and has to figure out how to deal with that. It's very upsetting, but it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
He's great. Tilda Swinton's great.
Yeah, she's really great in that movie.
She's really good.
So is Tom Wilkinson, Carmine Falcone. Yeah, great movie.
Highly recommend that one.
So, Michael, would you mind telling the listeners, number one, the most enjoyable, highest quality, 100% Rotten Tomatoes film of the weekend? Mike?
I believe the answer to that question is The Rock.
You damn right.
Welcome to The Rock.
Welcome to
my
The Rock.
God.
Welcome to The Rock. Mike, tell us about The Rock.
All right, so it's classic Nick Cage.
You damn right it
Always
is.
excellent movies.
Yeah.
There's a decorated war veteran.
Highly
decorated.
Highly decorated. Like, he walks around, clink, 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 clink.
He has some issues with how some of our veterans have been treated after...
Reasonable points.
Yeah,
He
very
makes good
reasonable.
points. He doesn't deal with it all that well, but he makes good points.
Also, he just asks for money. Like, he doesn't ask for any kind of systematic,
Yes.
changes. He only
That's a
asks
good
for
point.
money. And
It's the classic villain has kind of a good point, but really goes about proving their point the wrong way situation.
Yeah, I mean, he might have been a little bit misunderstood.
That's Mike.
Towards the end, he didn't actually want to kill anybody.
Yeah.
True.
All right. So explain what he was doing to try to get some sort of reparations for these soldiers.
So he stole some very powerful chemical weapons and was
WX-8.
Yeah,
Or
the
something.
green balls.
The green balls.
and threatened to unleash it on the entirety of San Francisco.
Yes. How many people could each missile kill?
70,000 people
70.
or something.
No, I thought it was a teaspoon. A teaspoon of it would kill.
Like a
Maybe
square
that's
block.
what it
No,
was, yeah.
teaspoon would take out 8 square blocks? I think it was
Something
8
like
blocks.
So, Nicolas Cage puts a whole ball, breaks, and he walks away, like scot-free.
Well,
He injected the thing into his midst.
Oh my goodness.
Into his heart. I think, but what I find interesting about your issue there is that the most preposterous part of that is that a villain would open his mouth so wide that this gigantic ball could fit in there and he would just go, ah! And then just open his mouth. So to finish the plot, he's threatening the city, so of course Nicolas Cage, who's just an office drone.
Importantly, he's based on Alcatraz. Like, they've taken over
Yes,
Alcatraz.
they've taken over Alcatraz, and Nicolas Cage is an expert in chemical weapons, but he's an office drone, and he just found out that his Catholic girlfriend is pregnant. Very important that she's Catholic somehow. And they recruit Sean Connery, who not only knows who killed JFK, but it has all of the most relevant files on attacks on the south of China during the Vietnam War. He had some other stuff.
Alien landings in Roswell.
Yes, there are aliens in this movie. They don't appear, but they're there.
They're confirmed to exist.
And so Nick Cage and Sean Connery basically team up to take down The Rock. Yeah, and that's the film.
It's Michael Bay. As you can expect, there are a lot of explosions. Doesn't make
Particularly
much sense.
of things that shouldn't be exploding.
And then an air conditioning unit fell on that guy's grenade and it didn't blow up.
Yes. The most, I think we're all in agreement, the two most disappointing things about this movie are, one, that grenade did not explode, and two, that Sean Connery did not clarify that he was Scottish. The climax of the film. Totally nonsensical, very strange. Movie was really just, I thought, crisply written, really convincingly acted. I mean, I thought Nick Cage was stunning.
Should have gotten an
Really,
Oscar.
I'm surprised he wasn't nominated for an
I don't
Oscar.
know why in the name of Zeus's butthole.
I think Seamus might have left the room when he said that Zeus's the whole thing.
Oh, you didn't catch that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nick Cage was like, how in the name of Zeus's butthole do you open the door?
He's so bad. He's so bad.
Well, as you can tell, we had a great time with that. And, just a great weekend. I couldn't have enjoyed the movies more. I couldn't have enjoyed the company more. We're glad Seamus joined us. And I think we will definitely be back with this episode next year.
Yeah.
And to be clear, this is the 2019/2020.
Yeah.
We sort of do a sports season. It's whenever it fits in. So we'll probably do the next one either 2020 or 2021.
Yeah. Me, Mike, and Mike will be back. I assume Seamus will never want to see us again.
Probably not.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we need to re-rank. I will say, if
maybe give a preview on some quality.
Well, I would say if you're taking recommendations away from this, the movies you should probably actually watch are Michael Clayton.
Yeah. Lost City of Z.
Yeah.
Kingpin.
71.
Without Your Kids. 71. And then, I don't know if I would necessarily pay to see it in theaters unless you had like a boys-oriented movie weekend, but I really like The Gentleman.
Yeah.
I think it's worth seeing.
I'm probably going to pay to see it again so I can see it.
Yeah.
Excited to do that. So, K-Dog, do we have anything we want to mention before we get out of here?
Do you want to recap it all?
Yeah. Let me recap. Let me get my phone.
Could you
just go do while I find it?
Do.
Thank you. Okay. So, number 13, Man with the Golden Gun. Number 12, Rounders. Number 11, 7 fucking Psychopaths. Number 10, How to Train Your Dragon 1. Number 9, Kiss Kiss, Bang Bang, Boner for Kyle. Number 8, The Gentleman. Number 7, The Lost and maybe still lost, City of Z. Number 6, Den of Thieves.
No, we didn't see the sequel.
Oh, sorry, you're right. We saw the first one.
Den of Thieves.
The Den of Thieves! Number 5, Kingpin. Number 4, 71. Number 3, Green Street Hooligans. Number 2, Michael Clayton. And number 1, the best movie we watched all weekend. The Rock.
Welcome to The Rock.
Welcome to The Rock.
All right. Now I will say, Michael, before we go, big thanks to our sound guy. We do not know Kevin. But thanks to Kevin for providing us with our intro, and even though we didn't use it, our non-top 3 music.
He had it there for us. We just decided not to use it this week.
Sorry, Kev.
And
then obviously Aaron puts together our work. It's fantastic stuff. And if you want to see more of her things, you can do so at Sant Design on Instagram.
And speaking of Instagram, we have some terrific social media. I think I'm going to stop mentioning our Facebook and Twitter because there's really nothing going on there. We are Instagram-centric as a team.
The Instagram's great.
It's a good Instagram. Thanks to Caroline, who both takes care of our Instagram and has her own stuff on Instagram at CML something or other. I probably shouldn't mention that because I do not have this business registered with my company. And since I could be theoretically directing revenues towards Caroline, I probably should mention it to work. So don't go to Caroline's stuff for actual purchases. Just enjoy her work on CML something or other on Instagram. So if you want to check that out, our stuff, or you want to send us an email, tell us that all of those movies sucked, or you want to come to Movie Weekend next year and would like to submit a resume, that's top10km@gmail.com. The 10 is spelled out, TEN. I assume you're listening to this on some sort of podcast listening app, but if you need another one, we are on Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean. The Apple Podcast app is that one that I usually mention. Yeah. Or really anywhere podcasts can be found. So, that's about all I got to say, dog.
That's all there is. Thanks for getting on a plane and flying to Chicago to watch movies with me for 3 days.
13 movies. Seamus, Michael, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Adios. Fuck you!